Hey guys! Today we're going to the autumn forest to test two interesting dry rations. Misha will be happy to go for a walk and get some fresh air, especially since there are so many new smells. And there's plenty of room to run around as much as you want. We did not have time to go far, because Alabai immediately pointed out an interesting find. But looking ahead, I'd say that was a bad sign. We also found a mushroom, but we could not identify whether it was edible or not. But that's not really important. We have enough to eat without it. Besides, it's time for the first break. So, a comparative analysis of dry rations from the Far West and the Far East. US Army versus Chinese Army. The American ration is menu number 8, and I didn't learn Chinese in school. Is it possible that the contents of this pack could feed 13 Chinese for 2 days? It's definitely unclear. Even Misha came running when he realized that breakfast was coming. It's time to start unpacking. Immediately, we see that there are a huge number of packages in the American dry food. I am very glad that one of them is designed to be used for garbage. We've already divided everything into portions, so let's start with breakfast. From the accessories, the following are presented here: spoons, napkins, condiments, and matches. For breakfast, we choose an energy drink, a French ham and cheese sandwich, a bagel, and for dessert, a chocolate banana pudding, and a caffeinated mint-flavored chewing gum. We begin, of course, with the preparation of an elixir of charge and strength for the whole day. Fill with water to the desired level, seal, shake, set aside, and allow to infuse. In the meantime, unpack all the bags. By the way, each package contains an oxygen absorber. The manufacturers have even indicated that it is not edible. We put the garbage in a bag and move on to the Chinese dry rations. Misha can't wait to taste it. The Chinese have everything much simpler and without frills. 2 packages, with breakfast and lunch, as well as a spoon and a couple of packages. On the one hand, there's not much choice, but on the other hand, you don't have to worry about the menu, you just pick it up and eat it. Chinese food is also very easy to heat. All you have to do is add water to the bag, and in the process of a chemical reaction, the heat released will warm the food. It's time for the tasting. The French sandwich was not very tasty, and that's just me putting it mildly so as not to offend anyone. It's dry and almost tasteless. To chew a sandwich without drinking it is unreal. So you can't do without an energy drink. It's very convenient that you can drink it right out of the bag. But the bagel tastes much better. Of course, we don't forget to share our food with friends. Let's move on to the Chinese menu. By the way, the spoons in the sets were almost identical. In the bag, as expected, there was rice with pieces of meat, and very, very dry. Good thing that one of the packages contains sauce. It somehow saves the dry rice, which is almost tasteless, but the dog liked it. After all, it's an Asian shepherd. Maybe that explains why he likes rice so much. It's hard to decide which breakfast was better, but it makes more sense to eat rice for breakfast than to settle for a snack. It's true that the rice is not good and it's dry. Anyway, it's too early to draw conclusions. Let's clean our mouths with American gum and continue on our way. And now let's talk about the saddest incident. We launched a drone in the forest to get some nice shots, but there was a strong wind from above, and it was blown away. On the camera, we could see the field where we wanted to land the device, but the connection to it was suddenly interrupted. Ideally, in this case, the quadricopter should return to the starting point from which it took off. At least that's what we were counting on. But time was running out, and it became clear that we could not wait for our UAV. The drone's charge was 25% when it lost contact. It probably didn't have enough power to complete the Go Home mission. According to the last records that the quadricopter was able to send to the mobile app, we can see the coordinates of where it was last seen, so our hike became a search for the drone in the forest. As soon as we left the campsite, we came across a foxhole, and a pretty deep one at that. The camera doesn't transmit well, but the tunnel is actually 2 meters deep. We walked through the woods for a long time. We tried to follow the route the quadricopter probably had to take to get back to the starting point. The only interesting thing we found was a treehouse. It's a little too unusual. 1 meter above the ground, with a slate roof and covered with dry grass. Strange construction? I wonder what it's for. So we walked on and on until we came to a field. We didn't seem to be hungry after breakfast, but on the way, we came across such appetizing bushes of sloe berries. I tried one, then two, and then got so carried away that I must have eaten 20 berries. Meanwhile, there was no drone in the field. But we shortened the way and went back into the forest. We are about 300 meters from the coordinates, where the quadricopter sent its last signal. Our dog was so tired that as soon as we stopped, Alabai immediately laid down to rest. Well, that being the case, we should take a break for lunch. In the middle of the yellow forest, we found a picturesque green clearing. It is also located a bit below the main level. It is very cozy down here, and even the wind is not so strong. Misha fell asleep immediately. What's the saying? Share your lunch with a friend. So let Misha make the first choice, consciously or not, but not even knowing that in the bags, Asian Shepherd chose Asian dry rations. Of course, we want to have something hot for lunch. For this purpose, we put together a camp stove. We collected kindling and dry twigs. The American kit has paper matches, so it's time to test them. I have to say that they work very well, and after a few minutes the flame was already burning, waiting for the water to boil. In the meantime, let's heat up the Chinese food, just like we did for breakfast. You can tell by the reaction with the release of steam that the thermal process is underway. The American menu calls for these items for lunch: a sandwich, beef jerky, mixed nuts, applesauce, and coffee with cream. We unpack the packages. The water is already boiling, so we can make the coffee and cream. While Misha is asleep, we can sneak off to the tasting. We start with the barbecue chicken sandwich. There's actually some tomato paste in there. Even though there was tomato paste, the appetizer was dry again. You can only eat it with coffee, and the coffee is so good, it's better to put out a fire afterwards. But the mixed nuts were delicious, and the main thing is that it's protein, so it was very nutritious, but most of the mix is cheap peanuts. But the jerky was really tasty. The Chinese dry rations were broken into pieces before the package was opened. Rice was still inside, only this time corn and chickpeas were added to the meat pieces. But the rice was still dry. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something. Let the Asians eat it. And while Alabai eats lunch, I have cinnamon applesauce for dessert, made in the USA. It weighs 128 grams, 140 calories. After the dry rice, this snack seems delicious. Remember at the beginning we said that the Chinese dry rations had 3 little packets. One contained a sauce, another contained an energy drink, and another was empty, for a spoon. After lunch, we moved on, to the point where the drone's signal was lost, and we started to search the area. We searched everything within a 200-meter radius. The thing is that the quadricopter could have been blown sideways by the wind when it fell, which means that the search area expands. Here, we looked under every leaf, and just in this area, we walked 11,000 steps. Everyone was tired, even the dog, but we never found the drone. And even during such adventures, we almost ran out of strategic water. It's a good thing that a river runs through the forest. The water here is spring water, so the dog was happy to quench his thirst. It seemed to us that even the water level dropped after he drank, because he drank so long and intensively. Misha is ready to drink water straight from the stream, and here we have a camping filter. On one side, it has a hole for water intake. On the other side, a neck for drinking. I have to say, the spring water here is really delicious. The sun is slowly sinking below the horizon, and we still haven't had any dinner. It was about time, especially since we found a good place to rest. Apparently, the gamekeeper made it for himself. What are we going to eat? We still have the last cup of water, and there's snacks, chocolate and tuna in the bags, and there's a milkshake. We pour water over it and let the powder dissolve, and then we start eating. The sun is going down very fast, and without a flashlight, you cannot put a spoon in your mouth. Snacks as a light dinner were tasty, but it would be better to eat them during the day. They are more of a snack than a full meal. The chocolate was also tasty, and the tuna was good. Don't forget to share the food with the dog. The milkshake was also delicious, although it looked like kefir. Either we are that hungry, or we are really saving the best of American dry rations for dinner. I have to say, the US Army rations consist of a lot of snacks. Although the menu is varied, it does not include a single full meal. At the same time, the Chinese menu is the exact opposite of the American one. There is no choice but a full breakfast and lunch, only both are dry rice. It's almost impossible to eat. That's all for now. Bye-bye.